Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 6 of Finding Love. It's JB, and I'm super excited this morning to be sharing with you another way for you to fall in love, bring love, find love, create love, manifest love, and do all the things that you need to do to bring that amazing sense of love into your life. So we're on day 5. Congratulations, you've made it this far. So you're almost there. Well, not quite, but you're way farther ahead than you were when you started. So I hope you're all feeling magical. I wanted to share that I've had some people share with me over the last few days that they've had some incredible experiences of finding love in their life. And it's not necessarily been big, giant, galactic, life-changing love, but it's the beginning of love. And that's one of the things I want to talk about today, that, you know, even the smallest experiences of love are things that we need to be aware of and be grateful for. Being grateful is the #1 key, I think, really into manifesting more into your life. When you see something small, what you might consider maybe insignificant, you really recognize it. For example, just the other day, my daughter lost her winter coat on the playground. It was a beautiful day out, and she left it on the playground while she was playing. Of course, the weather turned super cold, and she didn't have her winter coat. We've been looking for it and looking for it. She's been wearing an alternate coat that hasn't been warm enough. And we pulled up to school the other day, and I said, you know what? I'm really going to manifest that we find the right and perfect person to help us find your coat. And as we pulled into the parking lot, one of the super wonderful, amazing full-time moms who's there every morning and every day after school, who sort of looks after everyone, the mother hen of everyone, she happened to be parked right in front of me. She got out of her car, opened up her trunk, and I jumped out and I said, "Good morning, super mom. I was wondering if you had any idea, maybe if you saw my daughter's coat on the playground the other day." And she said, "No, but I'll help her find it." And I said, "Well, she's gone to look in the lost and found, and she's asked everyone, and it's not there." And she turned to my daughter and she goes, "Come here, sweetheart." And she took her by the hand. She said, "We're going to go find your coat. Come on, let's go inside the school and find it." And off they walked, the two of them. And I just had this big sense of love that this woman was loving to my daughter. This woman was loving to the situation. And I just said, "Thank you, universe, thank you." And it was a really incredible gesture of love that this woman took the time to do something for us out of her day. And so little things like that, that maybe that's not a love affair or a love romance, and you may be thinking like, wow, JB, that's not really the kind of love that I'm looking for. I want to say that that's kind of where it starts. When you can recognize small gestures of love that come into your life, and small gestures of things that really matter to you, that are necessarily you weren't expecting, that's the universe still going knock, knock, knock. Love showing up. It's just showing up in other ways. And I want to see if you can recognize it. I want to see if you know when love is appearing, so that when bigger gestures of love come up, you're already grateful and you're already appreciative of them. And gratitude is a really important thing when people are showing the smallest, most insignificant, possibly, gestures of love, and we recognize it. Because when we recognize something and we fuel it with more and more love and more energy, it just grows and grows and grows. I'll give you another example. We were having a birthday party at the house, and I forgot the napkins. And of course, my mom was coming over, and she called right in the middle of my frenzy, "I'm on my way. Do you need anything?" And I was like, "Oh, yes, I need napkins. Okay, I'll bring them." And of course, she stopped and she got them and she brought them. And it was the smallest little gesture of love, but it was love. It was love manifesting. And my gratitude towards her, my thankfulness and my appreciation, even just sharing it with you, shows how much I appreciate those small gestures of love. So one of the key things you can start doing this week is really recognizing any forms of love, appreciation, joy, importance that people show on you that you weren't expecting, and to be really grateful for them. You can write them down in your journal, like, "Wow, this happened to me today." You can, at the end of the day, you can sit and meditate and think, "Wow, what are all the amazing ways that someone showed me love today?" And it could be as easy as someone just opening the door for you at the grocery store, carrying your groceries for you, putting some spare change in your meter, or even just saying hello or smiling, or in some way just acknowledging that you are a person and that you exist and that you or someone saw you with their beautiful eyes and they smiled at you. So being grateful for love is really going to manifest it and just expand it in your mind in so many amazing ways. So that's one of the things about love for today. But the topic of the day is trust yourself. Trust yourself. I really want to sort of dig deep into this in the few minutes that we have about trusting you. What you want for love in your life, you know what that is. You know, really, because we've been working on it for the last few days, what does love mean to you? What's important about love? What do you visualize about love? What have you manifested? What do you want to create love to be? And now, this is where it gets really, really important that you trust you. Don't compare your list of what love means to you to someone else. Don't start necessarily asking your friends about, well, what do you think about my list? Or what do you think about my wish? Or what do you think about my big dream? If that's what you want, then really, really trust you. And trust you in a way that you don't need to ask others what they think. You don't need to go around and get confirmation from people, your friends or your family, that yeah, you know, you got it right this time. Trust you, because you are the only one who has all the lessons in your mind. You're the only one who's been through all the history of all the other relationships you've been in. You are the only one who knows how you really performed. You're the only one who really knows how the other person showed up. You're the only one who really knows how you could have been different, how you could have zigged when you zagged, how you could have changed when you didn't, how you could have altered when you shouldn't, or could have, or didn't. So you're the only one who's got all the facts. And so it's really important for you to really be clear with yourself about what it is you want, what it is you need, what it is you believe, and then trust that. Trust that you are at this amazing place in your life where what you want is absolutely ready to come to you, and you don't need anyone else to confirm it. You don't need anyone else to pat you on the back and say, okay, you got it this time. And you don't need anyone else to say, well, I know you better than you know yourself, because that is never true. Anyone who thinks they know you better than you is giving you an absolute disservice. And if someone says that to you, then that's a great opportunity for you to sit back and absolutely analyze what is that person's reference to that, and how can I know myself better than them? What do I need to do to know myself better than them? Why is it that someone thinks they know me better than I know myself? And when you get to that place where you absolutely are clear about what it is you want, then trust 100% that that's what you're going to get, and that's what you deserve, and that's what you desire, and that you know what you want. Too often we go to our friends, us girls are really bad about it, men not so much, but girls, oh my goodness. And not to be disrespectful in any way, but even going to our mothers, yeeks, please. Moms are amazing, absolutely beautiful, and the things that they want for us aren't necessarily what we want for ourselves. And the way they see us is from like day one all the way here, and they have like a different filter. And so moms are fantastic to go and get love and support and all kinds of, you know, that loving motherly daughter thing. But when it comes to who you want to spend your life with, it's maybe not the best person to ask your mom. If you are in a situation where, you know, often your mom's advice isn't really necessarily been the best situation. I love my mom dearly, but she hasn't always given me the best advice when it comes to love, because my mom is from a totally different generation with a totally different set of values, a totally different experience of life, completely different values and belief systems because of her generation and her training and her education and everything that she learned from her mom. And so I adore my mom and all the things that she shares with me, but it doesn't necessarily mean that she knows more than me about me. So in saying that, gentlemen, same with your dads maybe, or your friends, or your partners, or that you know, your buddies that you hang out with, and, you know, sort of do guy things with, maybe they're not the best people to ask advice about what kind of person you should be with, what kind of girl you should be dating. So I want to share with you that trusting yourself and knowing yourself is really important. And so today we're going to do some work. I'm going to go through the worksheet really quickly. What patterns do you repeat when falling in love? And that's a really good thing to look at. What are the things that you keep repeating and doing when you're falling in love or when you're looking for love? I had a very good friend of mine reach out to me, and he had shared that one of his patterns is that he keeps looking for girls who sort of look the same or have the same physical appearance, and he's you know, his pattern is to sort of look at someone physically first and the physical attraction. And so that's a great thing to write down. It's great awareness, and there's no right or wrong. We're not saying that you should change that or you should do that differently. Just being aware that that's one of your patterns is really fantastic. What patterns do you repeat when falling in love? You know, I have a certain pattern that I've done, and it hasn't worked for me up until now. So when I wrote down my patterns and I looked at my patterns, it was really fabulous for me to say, okay, that one's no longer working. That worked for me then, that worked for me at 20, hey, that even worked for me at 30, but that's not working for me now. So what patterns do you repeat? And then we're going to go into the next one. What about love still feels unsure? There's 5 things that you can write out. What about love feels unsure for you, in the sense that I'm not sure if ... I'm not sure if a man's going to truly love me and my kids as a package. I'm not sure if there is the kind of love that I'm looking for out there. Whatever your idea is, let's write it down. There is no crazy, there is no silly, there is no foolish. Write down what still feels unsure to you about falling in love, because there are things, there are absolute things, consciously, subconsciously, and those are the things that are in your way just a tiny bit every time love tries to show up. And these are the things we want to clear out so that there's absolute free space for love to show up. The next one is, what advice are you always going to for others when it comes to love? So this is great for the ladies. You know, what advice do you always end up asking for when you are, you know, falling in love, looking for that right guy? One of my very closest friends of 27 years just spent the weekend visiting with me, and I, you know, kept sort of asking her, like, you know me, and you've seen me, and you've watched me, and you've seen what I've been doing, and what do you think about this, and what do you think about that, and you know this, and this is my story. And so interestingly enough, like, that is a question that I've asked numerous times over the years of her in my relationships. And so write those down. Write those down. What advice are you always looking for when you go to others to ask about love? And you will be surprised if you ask your friends. Like, you could even go to them and say, you know, when we talk about relationships, what am I always referring to? Or what do you hear me continually saying? What is my repeat story? And your friends, they're great listeners. They'll absolutely be able to tell you what the things that you've been saying. And you may not even be aware that you've been saying the same thing so many times when it comes to love. And your friends can absolutely share it with. Knowing the advice that you go to others for when you're looking for love is really great, because then you could say, hey, here's what I ask others advice for. Let me ask myself that advice. So if my question was, do you think I should get married again? I've been married before. Do you think I should get married again? That's a question that I have been asking. And and if I ask my other friends, now I'm going to put it down on my sheet, and then I'm going to go to JB and say, hey, JB, this is the question for you. Do you think you should get married again? Do you think you should get married again? Do you think you should get married again? Do you think you should fall in love again? Do you think you should take a chance again? These are the kind of questions that you should be asking yourself, because you keep asking your friends, and so many times you want your friends to give you the answer. And depending on if they give you the answer you want or not, you know, you may take their advice or not. But if you can sit in a really quiet space and actually turn the questions on yourself, you will be absolutely delighted and amazed at how quickly and easily the answers will come to you, so profoundly. And when we're listening to someone else instead of listening to ourselves, we just get caught up in our mind. So when we're quiet and we ask ourselves advice and we ask ourselves the questions, the answers come from our heart. They come from within. And it's so much more real. It's not intellectualized. It's not theorized. It's not, well, do I think I should do this again? Do I think that I should try this again? It's, what do I feel? And that is the key. That is what we should be led by our hearts, led by our feelings, led by our emotions, not by what we think we should do, think what people are going to say. And I'm guilty of that. I am so guilty of that. And what I love about teaching this class is that I am learning with you. Every single thing that I'm teaching is exactly what I need to be learning. This morning before this talk, I was like, oh, this is so hilarious, because this is exactly what I need to be learning, what I need to be telling myself, what I need to be reminding myself, to sit in a quiet chair, to sit in peace of me, and just ask myself these same questions that I would ask another person who I love and adore, but who absolutely knows the answer to these questions other than me. So that's my encouragement. The next part of this worksheet is, what can you do to trust yourself more when it comes to finding love? So for all the times that you hold back and you distrust, what can you do to trust yourself even more? I actually just shared with my partner the other day, you know, as soon as something comes up for me that's an old trigger, I like go into my castle, go into the basement of it. I put up the fortress walls. I put down the steel gate. I bring out the cannons. I dig the moat. It's a habit of mine. It's a habit. And we were joking because they say so many times in relationships, one person is the rabbit and one person is the turtle. One person is the runner, we'll run, we'll walk away, we'll take off, we'll, you know, go out with friends, we'll leave the house. The other person will turtle. They'll like, you know, curl up, they'll go in their room, they'll, you know, get quiet, they'll introvert. And I was joking that I'm a turtle rabbit. I'm a rabbit turtle. Like I do both. I'll like run and retreat. I'll like curl up and leave, and it was quite cute. I mean, I said, even imagine a turtle shell with big rabbit feet and rabbit ears, and it's a cute understanding of what is our habits and what do we do, what is the things that are sort of our go-to reactions when it comes to love, and then what can you do to trust yourself more. So if I know that I rabbit and I turtle, then what can I do to trust myself more that, hey, you know what, this isn't a situation like before. I don't need to do any of that. How can I stretch out of my turtle shell? How can I stop my rabbit legs from running? What can I do to be different? And trust me, trust my knowing, trust my experience and my intellect that I can totally handle this different, instead of letting, you know, my reactions or my old story or my habits just sort of flare up in front of me. Next on the list is, do you feel you can trust your choices when it comes to love? Do you feel you can trust your choices? And there's a yes or a no. And so there's no middle answer. Do you feel you can trust yourself? And if you say no, perfect. Great place to start working. If you feel that, no, I can't trust myself, then this is where we get to dig deeper. This is where we get to do more things to find out what is it you need to do to trust yourself, and how can we work on that. And we can get into that more. You can reach out to me. We can do some one-on-one stuff. We can talk more about what do you need to do to trust yourself. If your answer is yes, I can trust myself, then great. If the answer is no, well, then I've got another little thing we can work on. Here are some ways that you can build self-trust. So number one is have regular communication with yourself and stay in touch with you. And that goes right back to sitting quietly, spending some time with yourself, journaling, writing, meditating, going for a walk, thinking in the shower, sitting down in the shower, just letting the water run down on you, and just having those moments where you're in regular communication with yourself. Learning to trust yourself means learning to listen to yourself, getting in tune with yourself, getting in tune with your body, identifying your spirit, knowing that it within you is something great and grand and connected to this big cosmic world. It's really important. Every time you're not sure of something, get grounded and get within yourself. Another thing you can do to trust yourself is do active listening and increase your awareness. So how many times, this just happened to me yesterday, put on a pair of earrings going to the movie, and they didn't have the little rubber backs on them, and my intuition said, don't wear those earrings, you're going to lose them. And I, of course, said, I'm not going to lose them. They're like pretty big and they hang down and they're like little hooks. I'm not going to lose my earring. Well, of course, last night after dinner, sitting with my friends, and my girlfriend says, did you just wear one earring today? And I reach over and my earring is gone. It fell out during the movie. So listening to your voice, it sounds silly, but there was a part of me that said, you know, you don't do that. I can tell you right now. And I just circumvented it. I have another great story. I was driving to the airport with my mom, and I decided to drive her car, and she was a passenger. She put her coffee cup in the coffee holder beside her, and I put my phone in her coffee cup holder, and my intuition said, don't put your phone there, you'll forget it. And I thought, of course I'm not going to forget it. I don't forget my phone. I'm going to the airport like I'm leaving on a trip. I'm going to have my phone with me. I tell you not, who was through security on the other side, reached for her phone, and it was not in her pocket. I had left it in my mom's car, and my intuition told me, don't leave your phone there. And so I didn't listen to that. Now, those are small examples of an earring and a phone, but they're exactly, the big piece is I negated them. And I drove over them. I bulldozed over them and said, oh, thanks for telling me that, and I'm just not going to listen to you. And those exact same things happen when you meet people and you have situations where, you know, somebody does something or something happens and you negate it, or you push it away, or I say, this is my thing, you painted a red flag green. And I learned this from an ex-partner, so I'll give him the credit for it. That's one thing you taught me that I absolutely stick with me. Don't paint your red flags green. So when you have a red flag and something happens and it's like a red flag and you're like, oh, yeah, that's okay. I'm going to make that okay. Or, oh, he did that and I don't really like that, but he probably didn't really mean it. Or, you know, it probably was just, it was just, you know, it didn't really, you know, I'm making a big deal out of something that's not a big deal. That's called painting a red flag green. So please don't do that. Trust the inner voice in you that gives you those messages all the time. Don't take a red flag when something happens, when you don't like something, when something doesn't feel good, when someone doesn't feel like the right person for you, or a situation doesn't jive, or you're just not getting along with someone, or they're just not the thing, and you're like, well, you know, I'm supposed to like this person, or this looks good on paper but doesn't feel good. Don't ever paint a red flag green. And I will stand behind that, and I'll talk about that more. Let's get through the last three. Spend time with yourself in self-care and positive rewards. So that is another way to trust yourself. If you can't be the word to you, your body and your brain is not going to trust you. So if you tell yourself you're going to get up and go for a run, get up and go for a run and be your word. If you tell yourself you're not going to spend time on Tinder, then be your word and don't do it. If you tell yourself that you're going to, you know, commit to working on your book and you're going to write a chapter a week, then do it. Be your word to yourself, because if you're not your word to you, you don't believe you. You don't trust you. You don't have that connection with you. So if you say you're going to do something, say it. If you can't complete it, then make a new agreement with yourself. Number 4 is work out your problems and develop solutions. Develop solutions within. So when something is bothering you and not working, then it's up to you to sort of figure out how you can sort it out within yourself. And when you can solve your own problems instead of always going to someone else, you begin to trust yourself. Number 5, don't give up when things go wrong. And this is a big one. We all stumble, we all fall, we all trip, we all make mistakes, we all blah, 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 blah. I can even say that. Got a few blunders under my belt. But then you just get up and you try again, because the whole thing is we're here to experience it. We are here to have the experience of being a human being, and part of being a human being is going through the roller coaster of love and romance, and its ups and downs and the whirls and twirls and the stomachs in your throat, and then it's exciting and all those things. That is what we're here to experience. We're not here to just get it, know it, the person shows up, okay, it's done, I got it, it's all secure. God wants us to have the most amazing experience. The universe wants to have it all. Every single part of this cosmic energy wants us to enjoy what it is about being in love, falling in love, and being true to our own selves. And so trust yourself. Trust yourself today. Trust yourself. You know exactly what you want when it comes to love. Okay, everyone, take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.